Hello everyone, welcome to the 7th edition of Amateur Hour, the show in which we teach ourselves how to program in increments of about an hour. At the start of our very first episode, we didn't really know how to teach ourselves to program, but we soon found on the CS50 site a course that they were teaching in computer science for absolute beginners in programming. So we started following those courses, and we're of course nowhere near being a programmer, but we're getting there. So let's get on with it. Let's get on to Amateur Hour. I wanted to show you the assignments we made. First up, we made 3 programs which are called Hello, Mario and Cache. Let's see what the Hello does at first. We at first just include a few libraries because that's what you always do in a C program. Then we have the int main void to start the program and these 2 little brackets which we will see in every single program we made. And then we have the programming text, which is first here. String answer is called get answer hello, what is your name, and then the user can type down what their name is, and then we print hello, whatever your answer was. So that looks a bit like this. Hello, what is your name? Dylanson, of course. Hello, Dylanson. Then we also made a Mario program. At first it will ask the user, so how big does it need to be? And then if the user gives an answer that is larger than 0 and smaller than 9, we will continue on, but otherwise we break and we just do this again. And then afterwards we will start making the pyramid, which is basically a for loop within a for loop. And in the combination of this here, we can make sure that the program either prints a space or it prints a hashtag when it's supposed to. Anyway, this is what it looks like. What is the size you want? Let's give 5, it should make a pyramid. And there we go, we've made a pyramid out of the hashtags. Well, like always, we will start with including a few libraries, and then we say to the program, these are all the parameters we're going to be using later on, and then we have the int main. So what will it do? Well, at first it will say int cents is get cents. Ask the user how many cents did it cost, and then if it's between 1 and 99, it will say okay. Then we continue on in the program. The user said 55. We'll first start to calculate how many quarters we should give to them. At first we set calculate quarters to 0, and then we will say as long as the amount of cents we are owed to the customer is larger than 25, we will do this part. Well, it's 55 at the moment, so yes, we will do this part. We will subtract 25 from it, and that will be new cent for this calculator. Cents will become 30, quarters will become 1, and then we just keep doing this. What was the original cents? 55. Quarters is 2, so 2 times 25. The new cents we will give back to the rest of the program, which is 5 of course. And then it will go on in the program. When it goes to calculate the nickels, it will say, yeah, okay, I have 1 nickel as well. And then in the end, it will calculate the amount of quarters. We earlier saw that it was 2, dimes was 0, nickels was 1, pennies was 0. How many cents did it cost? Well, like we said, 55. Yep, we got the answer of 3. And once again, if you also want to make these assignments, there will be a link to the assignments of the CS50 course down there. Anyway, now we go on to lesson number 2. Through the power of editing, we found out that we've already spent more than 4 minutes on our introduction and the assignments we made in between episodes. So we're going to have to start this lecture real quick.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Looks like Lecture 2 is called Arrays, and I don't really know what an array is, so we're just going to have to learn. Last time we used a compiler to turn a program into runnable and executable, and now he's showing how to not use a compiler but still get an executable in the end. C language run around for not using a compiler said, yeah, but in this case we don't really know what your library does, so you need to manually add the load CS50 in your code line. But why does he only need to add the CS50 and not also the include standard IO doesn't need the -l std IO? But the CS50 does need to be manually added there as well. Yeah, like he said, standard IO is so standard that it's already linked in even in the very basic C line Okay. He's telling us a bit about what we can find in the library CS50.h, and I'm definitely going to be checking out that program before we end our courses. Let me get to the side. This is assembly language, and this is what coding looked like according to him 20 years ago. This looks a lot more cryptic than code from these days, doesn't it? Doubt it was like this 20 years ago, no? Isn't it more like 30 years ago that it looked like this? I don't know. Our teacher has now taught us that when we are making or using a compiler, what actually is happening behind the scenes is pre-processing, compiling, assembling, and linking. Pre-processing was sort of loading all of your libraries and turning them into what you will be needing in your program, and then afterwards it was turning your C language into a more standard language, which we saw over here. Assembling, which turned your more standard language into zeros and ones for your computer to process, and then at the end there was linking, which made all of the libraries which were loaded into your program also into zeros and ones, and then putting everything in the right order in order so that your program could be run. Oh yeah, that's very promising. You're never going to be writing bug-free code. Okay, thanks. Just showed how you can use the printf to print out what your current state of the program is while you're running it, in case you ever find a bug or in case you ever want to have a closer look. Oh, but there also exist debuggers, and we're going to be using that this week. Oh yes, this debug console is very easy to grasp. The debugger will be your friend moving forward. I don't believe you. Okay, so rubber ducking is like talking to an inanimate object about what your code is supposed to do, and I guess I'm going to show you my rubber ducky. It's a meep from League of Legends. I guess that will be my companion for coding. He just killed one of those ducks! Bastard! Hey, we finally found the arrays. So what are arrays? We're going to be hearing that very soon. So with these square brackets, we're telling the PC or the program, we're going to be starting an array, and the size of the array is going to be 3. And because we said it's int, it's going to be an integer. We probably don't need to use an integer to store the size of the mark we got on the test, because our score is probably not going to be 2 million. And then he said, yeah, you're actually right, we could have also used a short here, but nowadays there's so much memory we don't really care about it. We've worked for, well, as you can probably tell, slightly over 1 hour. So we're going to be ending this amateur hour. In the next amateur hour, we're going to be ending this lecture number 2, and then probably also going to be coding a lot. I hope we're going to be working with this score program that helps you add numbers and gives back an average, because it sounds like a pretty fun program to make. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. I hope that you learned something, and I also hope to see you in the next episode of Amateur Hour. See you around!